This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a returning guest. He was back on the show in October of 26 of 2017. At that time, I thought the stock was undervalued. I said, it's one man's opinion. It's my opinion to go out and buy the stock. At that time, it was trading at almost 11 cents. Now it's trading at 24 cents. You almost made 100%, well, a little over 100% of your money. We're talking no other than BioCorRx, Inc. They trade on the OTCQB, ticker symbol BICX. And with us today is the CEO of that company, Brady Granier. Brady, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on again, Everett.
Hey, give my listeners a little bit about the statement before we get into Q&A, how you guys make your money and what you guys are all about.
Well, the company has two different lines of business. We have BioCorRx is an addiction solutions company. So underneath that umbrella, we have an operational program that's being used by treatment centers around the country right now, and then we have an R&D division called BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals that we're working on developing a product for FDA approval. And within the operational side of the business, in this behavioral program that's being used by independent treatment providers around the country, that includes a naltrexone implant coupled with a proprietary cognitive behavioral therapy program, a counseling program that we created, and a peer support program that overlaps the medical care and the counseling, and that takes place for about a year. So it's three parts to the BioCorRx recovery program: implant of naltrexone, counseling program, and a peer support program on top of that. And that entire program is used by independent treatment providers around the country. So we sell that program to them. They treat their patients with that program. That's how we generate some revenue now. And on the R&D side, we're taking a naltrexone implant through regulatory approval, because the current program that we use now uses a naltrexone implant, but it's based on a per patient prescription basis. So doctor needs to write a prescription for it. Pharmacy prepares it for that individual. It's been done that way for decades. Nothing new, but it's not efficient. And a lot of insurance companies and government entities choose not to pay for something that's not FDA approved, even though it's completely legal and what have you. That's their condition to not reimburse for things that aren't FDA approved. So we started the R&D division, BioCorRx Pharmaceuticals, to take a naltrexone implant through the regulatory process.
You know, you bring up something about the FDA. You got an FDA meeting coming up on January the 24th. What is that all about?
Well, that's a pre-IND meeting. So last year we worked on putting together our entire briefing package for that pre-IND meeting, which was a pretty involved process of putting together all of the data that we have on naltrexone implants from around the world, publications, our own data that we have, and put together all of that information along with our proposed development plan to get it approved. And so we submitted all of that to the FDA last year, and we're meeting with the agency next week on the 24th to go over that development plan. They typically respond to that development plan and the questions that we pose to them prior to that meeting, or sometimes at the meeting, and we hope to gain their buy-in on our proposed development plan, and to discuss maybe some of those items that they may want to see other more studies on or what have you. So the purpose of that meeting is to really figure out what exactly the pathway to approval is. And that will give us an idea of how long that might take and how much that might cost. So it's we're looking forward to that meeting. We feel very good about it, that we're going to have a very productive meeting with the FDA, and that'll, again, after that meeting we should hopefully have a clearer vision of what we need to do to get it finally approved. And of course we're in an opioid crisis. This is a product for
Absolutely.
opioid use disorder There's naltrexone itself has been approved 4 times by the FDA, so there's not a lot of question about how naltrexone works or how safe naltrexone is. It's really more we're looking at a different delivery of it. So there's certain things that they're going to want to see from us on safety of the procedure and things like that. And so we're hoping for a very good outcome from that meeting.
Recently you appeared on Fox and Friends with a patient's mother on there. How did that go, and how did you get on there?
Well, that was a really good story. His mom, found us. She was looking for solutions for her son. He was in trouble and had some issues with the law from his problem, and he went on our program. They actually the judge in the county actually approved our program in lieu of conviction for him. So that was huge for him. More so than us, it was huge for him, and he was able to, get on our program and stay clean and sober and get his life back together, get a job, and a really great story. We need more stories like that, and it was great that a judge, looked at our program and saw the benefit for him, and so that there was a local news story in Ohio that happened there, and then subsequent to that, we had the Fox News story that was done with her on there, and it was really a good piece, and it's a good story, and we need to see more of that. We look forward to seeing more of those feel-good stories.
My guest today is Brady Granier. He's the CEO of BioCorRx, Inc. They trade on the OTCQB, ticker symbol BICX. Recently, I saw in a press release you were about to, or you guys did sign an agreement with the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse. How's that going, and where are you at in the process?
Well, those were non-disclosure agreements. We have one with NIAAA, as you mentioned, and with NIDA, which is the National Institute on Drug Abuse, that's kind of their sister agency, one that deals with drug abuse and the other with alcoholism. And because naltrexone works on both opioids and alcoholism, so that ties back into the FDA meeting. We're hoping to be able to get a dual indication for the approval for opioids and for alcohol, and hopefully we don't have to go back twice. So we're hoping for that. So NIAAA, they are very interested in what we're doing, and anything to help add more tools to the toolkit for alcoholism and opioid use disorder. They're very interested in that. So they are also kind of waiting to see the result of the FDA meeting, what the agency is going to say about the alcohol indication, and they've expressed a high interest in helping us, in our pathway to approval on that. So we really have some great support from both of those agencies. They're very familiar with the product. It's not a new product to them. They're very, very familiar with it. So we're very happy that they have a very strong interest in what we're doing.
I also thought that you might want to bring up to my listeners that you brought on some new team members and what their capacity is and what impact they're going to bring to your company. Yeah,
well, it's always nice to add more experienced players, team members to our team here. They both come from separate backgrounds and will both contribute something differently in this pathway to approval. There's a lot of things that we need to do on the manufacturing side, and one of the experts is highly experienced in that CMC portion of the development plan, which includes the manufacturing piece. So it's not, it's very important that even if medication is deemed safe and appropriate, we have to have all the manufacturing protocols and best practices, and that has to all be done up to FDA standards. So you need to have experts like this on board to guide us appropriately through that process as well. So we're very happy to add them on, and we'll look forward to working with them, in the months to come.
Brady, while I have you on the show here, I'd be remiss not to ask you maybe give us an update on the BioCorRx recovery program and how you see 2018 shaping up for you, at least for the first 2 quarters.
Well, we've on the current program, the challenges and the hurdles, comes to payers, and we talked about that. So we are, I think we mentioned before, we're working on pilot programs with the city of Anaheim, and we're working on some other cities and states across the country. and we're working hard with them and trying to get the program in its current state reimbursed by those government entities on a local and state level. So that's the push. That's what we're working hard on right now. So hopefully we'll start seeing some fruits of that labor, in the first half of this year. So where the program is really effective, and we've helped many people with that program, and it's frustrating at times to have to battle to try to get it covered when it works. So we'll keep on fighting, and we hope to see some of these things kind of fall into place this year.
In closing, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to touch upon that you would like to get out there to the listeners? I'd
just like to say anyone who has a loved one that's suffering, we go to beataddiction.com. That's the information website. That has nothing to do with the public side of the company. This is for people that are looking for help. Beataddiction.com is a good resource. It has a lot of information and FAQs on our program, and an 800 number and a locator. You can find a place near you that can help someone that that might be suffering. Hopefully our program or some like it can be very beneficial to them. So that's a very important message to always get out there.
Brady Granier has been our guest today. He is the CEO of BioCorRx, Inc. They trade on the OTCQB, ticker symbol BICX. Brady, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You're always welcome to come on the show and give us an update on your company. Hopefully you'll come back on the next 40 or 50 days and give us an update on your meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.